Hi, good evening or good morning, whenever you are seeing this video. This video is dedicated to help you in developing your personal development plan, the PDB. And I'll try to use some examples and show you some templates. So the development of your personal development plan will be easier to you. We will start with what is a professional development plan and why do we need to create a PDB. Professional development plan or personal development plan is defined as a structured and supported process. So it's a process upon which it is both structured and requires some support, undertaken by an individual to reflect upon their own learning. So the learning that have happened as a result of engaging in the CBD or engaging in the academic practice activities, performance and or achievement, and to plan for their personal, educational, and career development. This definition is reported by the Higher Education Academy in the following reference. So what a personal or a professional development plan? It's just a plan to invest, to capitalize on what we have learned throughout our engagement within the CPD program or all the what's going on around us in the academic practice. Professional development plan requires first planning. You need to do some planning. You need to identify your goals and desire achievement when it comes to your practice. If you don't develop yourself, you will plateau. People who plateau, they just get behind. They don't walk with the advancement, and they don't be ahead of things. They just are left behind. So you need to plan. You need to identify what do you want to change about your practice, what things that you want to include in your practice as a result of changes in the surrounding environment. After planning, we need to do something. We need to align the activities we are engaging with these goals that we thought about, the goals that we want to achieve. After doing, there is a recording. In recording, you record to understand the process and the results. Now, you planned, you did what you are planning to do, and now you have to see, is this planning working for you or not? What the things that went well, what the things that didn't went well, that needs changing, needs more investments, needs alteration, so that you achieve the goals. And remember, not all the planning or what we have planned for will come in reality because of many other reasons, many things changing in the surrounding environment. And then finally, you will reflect, analyze, and evaluate the process and the result you have achieved, isolate the lesson learned, isolate the success factor, isolate the failure factors, and try to incorporate them into your next planning. And this is a cycle. So it's going on and on and on again. Every time you plan, you do, you record, you reflect, and then you plan again, and so on. So this is what PDB all about. It is to engage you in a continuous process for improvement, in a continuous self-improvement process that is intended to keep you updated with all the advancement, all the changes that occur in the academic practice and in the surrounding. And I'm sure that because of the situations we are in these times, you know that even the academic practitioner need to keep updated so that we are not left behind. So how do we develop a professional development plan? What do we need to develop? Well, we start with where are we now? To develop a professional development plan, you must ask yourself where I am now, where I am standing. And then where do you want to go when it comes to professional practice? In your practice, what do you want to achieve? as a result of engaging in the courses that you have engaged in CBD, in the reflection that you did in CBD. I'm sure that all of us are having many things that they think they need to change about themselves so that they become better practitioner. So where are we standing now and where we want to go? This gap need bridging. How to bridge this gap with a professional development plan. So we reflect on our current status, we identify skills, values, strengths, weaknesses, etc. And then we chart a course. We make a roadmap to go from point A, where we are standing now, to point B, where we want to be in the future. And we will do that by setting long-term goals and then breaking down these long-term goals into medium and short-term goals using the templates and tables that will be provided to you. What will we do to achieve the goals? What resources that we need to support us in this journey are also things that you need to equip your PDB with, so that you guarantee that everything has been thought of and that the journey will be successful, going from point A to point B. Then you need to think about the tactics, about the basic structure of your map. You have a long-term goals which take you from point A to point B. Now, what is the short-term goals that take you from point A to point B? We have an example to show you how we can move from long-term goals into medium-term goals, into short-term goals, and then also record some or find some measurements that will tell us whether we are traveling. Because as you remember, you need to reflect, you need to gauge how much successful you have been. So I have a basic example. We will see basic example that is common to all of us, and then we will see a more academic example. Two examples to show you how to do this task. Imagine that someone of us wants to reduce the weight, wants to be healthy, become much more healthy in life. So to develop a personal development plan or a professional development plan that serves the long-term goal of being healthy, we use what is known as KPI tree. KPI tree, bring an A4 paper, divide this A4 paper into 4 columns, column number 1, column number 2, column number 3, and column number 4. Start at the left by writing what is your long-term goal, and then move through the column by asking yourself how. How can I achieve that? So the long-term goal here is to be healthy. That is our long-term goal. And then now, how do we achieve that? We move from this column, the column in the most left side of the A4 paper, into the next column by asking how. How can I be healthy? Well, you need to eat well, okay? You need to control weight. You need to be aerobically fit. These all goals that serves the long-term goal. You can call them short-term goal. You can call them medium-term goal. It's entirely up to you. It depends. There is no clear cut between short-term or medium-term goal, but they are just in their integration, they will serve the long-term goal. Now, to achieve that, there are tactics or tasks, or what we can call them short-term. If you called those goals here medium-term goal, you can call these goals here short-term goal. If you call those goals short-term, you can call this area here, the third column in the A4 paper, as tasks. So how do we achieve eating well? How do you achieve this goal? By eating fresh fruits and vegetables. That is one task. What else? by managing the calorie intake, how much calorie you admit, and you have to keep the balance. The calories you admit into your body must not by any means exceed the calories you are burning by your activities. Then we move into the next goal. How do we control our weight? By using gym regularly, by participation in local sports event or any local events that encourage the control of weight. So these again can be tasks or they can be short-term goals. How do we achieve be aerobically fit? We can spend time in relaxing activities. We can do some yoga, for example, or some relaxing activities by dedicating time for relaxation. What else? We can control our sleep. We need to sleep at consistent schedule, sleep at a definite time, wake up at a definite time, and take enough amount of sleeping hours. So we moved from the long-term goal into the medium-term goal, into the short-term goal, or we moved from the long-term goal into the short-term goal, into the tasks. Names does not change anything. It's just a way of trying to break down that long-term goal into manageable chunks, and then these manageable chunks can be broken down further into some tasks. Now, the final thing we need to do is make sure to reflect on whether we have achieved being healthy or not. We need continuous measurement, because measurement can give us the exact, let's say, identification whether we have achieved this goal or not. So moving into the fourth column is not by asking how, but by asking what is the means of making sure that I am eating enough fresh fruits and vegetables? What are the measurement that will tell me that I am managing my calorie intake? So we will think about the measurement. To think about or to come up with some measurement, now you will focus on these short-term goals or on these tasks, because it is easy to measure these tasks rather than these long-term goals or short-term goals. So what's the measurement that will tell me that I'm eating a good number of fresh fruits and vegetables? The number. So this hash represents the number of fresh fruits and vegetables admitted every day. How many fresh fruits and vegetables? So you have to keep a record of how many fresh fruits and vegetables you eat every day, and this will ensure that you are achieving this task. And if you are achieving this task, you are achieving this goal. And if you are achieving this goal, eventually you'll achieve the long-term goal. What else? How do I know about managing calorie? There is the body mass index, which is a percentage that are calculated based on the length and mass or weight. And based on this calculation, you can guarantee that you are falling in the right category. As you manage your calories, you will move into having a perfect or a recommended BMI percent. For using the gym regularly, we have the percentage heart rate. That is in some gym equipment and treadmills, for example, if you are running or if you are walking, there is a display that show you what is the percentage heart rate. By using this percentage and by increasing the heart rate into a percentage, whereas you benefit from the exercise, you can guarantee that using the gym regularly will give you the outcome, which is controlling the weight and then being healthy. You can also use the hours spent on gym. You can also use the number of exercises. These are different measurements, but you have to decide on which measurement you want to implement. The participation in local sports, number of entered events, number of kilometer run or walk, number of let's say running hours. So you have many measurements, but you can choose one of them, just an indication. Then about the relaxing time, the time, you can see that hash means number, percent means percentage, and @ sign means time. So what is the time spent in relaxing activity? And then finally, the sleeping to a constant schedule what are the time of sleeping, the hours of sleeping. So this completes our KPI tree, started from the long-term goal, moving into medium or short-term goal, moving into short-term or tasks, moving into measurement. Now, all what you need to do is convert this into or put it into the template. Let us look at a different example. Now, this example will be an academic example to make it more clear to you. So I'm going to use an Excel sheet, which is prepared to do the KPI tree, and use a academic example. So we have here, this is a blank KPI tree, as you can see. Here we have the long-term goal. Here we have the medium-term goal. Here we have the short-term goal. And here we have the measure. And then you put your long-term goal objective here. You put your short-term goals here. You put your medium-term goal here. You put your short-term goal here, and you put your measure. Or you can say long-term, short-term tasks, and then measurements. So let us take one worked example, and this this sheet will be given to you should you want to use it. So the the long-term goal here is introducing team-based learning in my courses. I want to develop courses that is team-based in nature, where there are groups of students working in a specific problem, and then this will increase the exposure. This will help low achieving students to benefit from high achieving students. It will make my class interactive. But the problem is I was formatting my class in the old conventional way, whereupon I give a lecture and then the students will just go home and solve some problems. I want to change that, and I want to change the format of my courses. So it is a challenge. It is a challenge for me because it requires lots of changes. So how do I achieve that? It cannot be achieved in a one go, in a one run. It has to be broken down into short, medium, and short-term goals. And then I will achieve that in a year or two or so. So my long-term goal then is introducing the team-based learning in classroom. I divide that into 3 short-term goals. This is just a working example, but you can divide it into as much as you can. The main idea here is to help yourself achieve what you want to achieve and reflect on your needs, not just use a ready template. So for me, I need to learn how to apply TBL. I need to establish accountability for TBL and prepare the students, because if they don't agree, if they resist, this methodology cannot be implemented. I need to design a learning module. So these are the 3 medium-term goals which I want to achieve. Now, how to learn to apply TBL? I want to learn the concept of TBL by attending, for example, a training course. I need to engage in team building and management courses, or read books about team building, how to do team building, how to form teams, how to engage the teams, how to keep the teams always motivated, all things related to team building. So I need those 2 before I engage in a team-based learning. Now, this is a short-term goal, so I'm going to achieve that, and I can put some tactics, some tasks, break it even further. And I can put also some resources. What resources do I need? Do I need to read books? Do I need to go training? And then I will decide on what measurement. How can I measure that I achieved this goal? Well, the number of training hours, for example. How many training hours spent? How many reading hours spent reading about these topics? Then we move into establishing accountability. I want to introduce this to students. So I will first introduce small activities that involve teams, rather than introducing a whole module or a whole chapter of the course focusing on team building. So maybe 1 or 2 activities, or more or less. And then how do I measure that my introduction was correct? Number of implementing TBL in classes, activities that I've implemented, how many activities I implemented that is involving TBL. And then I can do small student satisfaction And then this student satisfaction will tell me whether they are accepting the idea or not, and what should be changed in order for them to be convinced into the idea. Then once I've learned and established the accountability, I am ready now to design a learning module, a chapter, 2 chapters, a whole course. Okay, so I need to prepare reading material for the students to engage in the TBL, because TBL is a kind of flipped learning technique where the students prepare everything off classroom and come to the classroom and do some assessment, some teamwork. So how do I know that I've done this work correctly? Number of hours spent in preparation. Then I need to design the assessment, how I will be assessing the students. There is a individual test, there is a team test, the problem itself, to make sure that they have engaged in the reading material and they have done the activity correctly. How do I measure that this design assessment is good? I can set a completion time, and I wanted to add @ here, but the Excel does not accept @ So here should be an @ So I set a target. I need to complete this within, for example, 1 month or 2 weeks. Number of hours spent in the preparation, the assessment. I can also design a checklist or a form, small form, and I give the assessment to a peer, and the peer will review it for me, and then he will fill that form, and there is a percentage of how much this assessment achieving what I want to achieve, and this peer review can be considered as a measurement. Then once you prepare the reading material and the assessment, you can now implement. The how many number of times course implemented is a good measure for that. Percentage student satisfaction with the implementation, percentage peer review with the implementation, the whole process itself, the reading material, the design assessment, the assessment, and the implementation itself, the review, the peer can review. So this is a practical example of reflecting on how to implement team-based learning in my classroom. You could think of many things that you want to achieve in your classroom. You can use this Excel sheet, or you can use the PowerPoint presentation, which I'll provide to you, and try to break down your long-term goal into short-term goals. Finally, once you've done that, all what you need to do now is fill in the form that are given to you. The form is shown here. This is the form here. This is the professional development form. After preparing the tree, you need to fill in the form and include this form into your wrap. So the form starts by what do you need to develop. So you put your long-term goal, and then medium-term goal, and then medium-term goals, and then short-term goals. What you will do to achieve, you will put your tasks. What are the tasks, the activities you will engage in? What resources, training, for example, books, peer review, what resources you require? The measurement, how you will know that you are successful. So you put your measurement here, and then the date where you will achieve this. You will check that this measurement has been achieved, when you will check that. So you go and fill this form, and by filling this form, your PDB plan is ready and working. The last thing you need to know, or you need to work with, is make sure that your PDB plan, your goals are SMART goal. What is a SMART goal? SMART goal is the goal has to be specific. So you have to define the goal exactly. What do you want to achieve? Don't put many verbs on the goal, like, for example, learning, developing, working. These are not specific. You have to do specific thing, just one verb, learning, and then developing, and then implementing. So there has to be one verb. Measurement, you have to add measurement, as we've seen in the KPI tree. Achievable or attainable. The goal has to be achievable within the time frame, within the constraints, within the given resources. You have to be able to achieve that. Relevant to the practice, the higher education academy areas of activity, the 5 areas of activity, A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, and relevant to what is going on within the University of Bahrain, the strategic plan, what the university is trying to achieve. So it has to be relevant. And most importantly, the professional development plan has to be related to the students. It's not something that you want to do for yourself. For example, get promoted. This has nothing to do with the, yeah, it is a professional development plan, but it is not the one you are asking for here. The professional development plan you are asking here is relevant to the students. It has to be reflected, linked back to the students. And then finally, time bound. We have a end time for each long-term, short-term, medium-term objective. You will check that you have achieved the objective or not. If you use the template provided to you, then this will make the most of the objectives are to be smart, but you have to just make sure that the criteria is satisfied. And I gave more additional slides in the presentation to tell you exactly what do I mean by smart. You can read this yourself. I hope this video clarifies to you everything about professional development plan. You can always communicate with me through email or through Teams if you require further clarification, or you can also consult your mentors. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope that things are much clearer for you. Thank you very much.